Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we have a new Synchro and a new XYZ and extra support for a bunch of different archetypes in this video, coming out in Animation Chronicle and some more. And on top of that, the Magikey archetype finally gets some extra cards because they really needed some more cards. And on top of that, the new bird archetype that is already looking pretty good is basically getting pot agreed. A lot of people are saying it's just as good, but we'll see if it actually lives up to it. But let's go and get started in BODE. This is the new Magikey support. So anyways, they're getting a lot of stuff. So the first card that we're going to be taking a look at is the Greater Magikey Magikey. It is a level 4 Light Fiend Tuner effect monster with 1600 attack and 1600 defense points, and its effect reads that you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. It can't be used as material for a Synchro or XYZ summon unless it is for a Magikey monster. And it also says, an important thing, it's also a tuner. If you control a Magikey monster, you can reveal this card in your hand during your main phase. This turn, you can normal summon one Magikey monster in addition to your normal summon / set. You can only apply this effect of Magikey Magikey once per turn. The second part of the effect is when this card is normal summoned, you can target a level 4 lower normal monster or a Magikey monster in your graveyard and special summon in a defense position. Okay, next up, let's check out some of their more powerful monsters. This is the first one, which is the Magikey Mutated Ogre Transfermine. It is a level 8 Fire Thunder Synchro effect monster with 2800 attack and 2800 defense points. And here is the artwork on this. Looks like it's also going to be a Fire Thunder. Oh, okay, that was interesting. Its materials are 1 Magikey tuner up plus 1+ non-tuner monsters, or normal monsters, that's important. And then you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part says that it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. The second part is during your main phase, you control this card Synchro summon using 2 or more different attributes as material. You get to set 1 Magikey spell / trap directly from your deck to your spell / trap zone. And the third part of the effect is if your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard, you can just destroy that monsters. Okay, so that's only a once per turn. So at the end of the day, it's just like a 1 disruption. But then on top of that, you get to instantly search out for a card. And the Magikey really needs the gun for their archetype, which I'm sure its name will get changed for the TCG because that's what they're all about. They're all about equipping the gun for them. Next up, but it's pretty consistent to get it, so don't worry about it. Next up though, they have a new XYZ monster. This is the Magikey Possessed Spirit Waparthu. It is a rank 4 Water Sea Serpent XYZ effect monster, 2000 attack and defense points, and its materials are 2 level 4 monsters. And it says, when this card is XYZ summon, you can detach 1 material from it to add 1 level 4 or higher normal monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. The second part is if this card has a normal monster as material, it gains this effect. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a opponent's monster with the same attribute as a normal monster and or Magikey monster in your graveyard, you get to detach 1 material from this card to make your opponent send their battling monster to the graveyard. Okay, as far as I remember, this was all about the rituals, but I'm gonna check out some of their cards in a second before we sign them out as meh. So next up, we have the Magikey Battle as a quick play spell card that lets you target a normal monster, Magikey monster or Magikey Magikey in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck. Then if you activate this card in response to the activation of an opponent's card or effect, non-token normal monsters and Magikey monsters you currently control are unaffected by that opponent's effect, unless it considered some of their boss cards as normals. I don't know about that effect. Next up, we have the Magikey Locking Lock, which is a normal trap card that lets you tribute a token normal monster or a Magikey monster, then target up to 2 normal monsters and or Magikey monsters in your graveyard whose total levels equals 8 or less to special summon that in defense position, then apply 1 of these effects. You can immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro summon 1 Magikey Synchro, or immediately after this effect resolves to summon a Magikey XYZ monster. The problem with this is that you also have to tribute a non-token normal or Magikey, and then this is a trap card, so that technically, yes, you get a searchable card effect with the other previous card effect. With the Synchro during your main phase, you get to instantly set it, so you can kind of reoccur, but again, it's just going to be a little bit slower, but it does have that potential to reoccur. Now, the Magikeys as an archetype, going over it real quick, they weren't able to be played as like a pure archetype. Most of their cards were pretty much useless. You basically had Beto Buster, and that was pretty much it. You'd basically set up for a 1 negate with there's a quick effect where it's quick effect. You can once per turn when your opponent activates the effect of a monster with the same attribute, you get to negate it. It's really what I would consider mediocre for, like, compared to the new bird stuff that got shown off yesterday. Is pretty weak, but nonetheless, at least they're getting enough support to potentially make it out as like an actual archetype, because before, yeah, you simply just didn't have enough cards to make a pure Magikey deck that would be able to be standing on its own. But next up, this is just quick little Yu-Gi-Oh news for North America and Europe. These are for 2 important things coming out. So the structure deck Cyber Style got moved back. It was originally scheduled for July 28th, which was coming up pretty soon, and now it's pushed back to October. And this is one really devastating thing for the Synchro players. Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm got pushed back until next year. I mean, it's at the beginning of next year, but that's such a long time. Like, that is going to be unfortunate. And for the European territories, it's just a little bit different. Basically, it's a 1-day difference. So instead of the 29th of July, it's October 7th. And then on July 15th, it is now January 20th. It's not that big of a deal in terms of like the differences, but I figure I'd mention it just in case any of you guys are there, you know, trying to pre-order some of these things. Next up, though, we got some more newer card support for the Speedroid. This is called Speedroid Scratch, and it is a new spell card that says, as a normal spell card, you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. The first part of it says to send 1 Speedroid card from your hand to the graveyard, to add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck here. And that's an insane effect. Not only do you get to send 1, I mean, it is from the hand, but technically some of them can get bonus proc effects, but being able to then add 1 to search out whatever Speedroid, that's an insanely good support card for them. Definitely good. And then we also have a really insane card. So this is a card people are talking about, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. Is it as good as Pot of Greed? Because I feel like it's not that much of a stretch, but I can see where people are coming from. Anyways, this is WingRaquel. It is a normal spell card that says you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. If you control 2 or more monsters with different original names and no non-wing beast monsters, you pay 600 life points to draw 2 cards. That's a really good effect. Obviously, it can be conditional for what deck you're playing, but if you can meet the requirements, it is basically Pot of Greed. The pay 600, like, that doesn't matter. The difference is that you actually have to have that, but if you're playing a deck that can meet these requirements, it's pretty much Pot of Greed. It's really good. And there is technically another downside that you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn, but is that really that big of a deal? I would still play 3 copies of it if my deck couldn't actually run it. But yeah, very good stuff indeed. There's so many archetypes that can make really great use out of it. And as far as like the paying, I don't know if there's any like real benefit to it. There are some Yu-Gi-Oh cards where it's like if you're under your you know, opponent's life points, you could do some things. Megamorph can be one of those, and if you really want to push for like OTK plays, yeah, I'll admit it can be an option, but for the most part, this is not that big of a deal. The only real downside is to only activate 1. You could still special, you can do everything. Like, a lot of cards that let you draw straight up 2 cards have some huge drawback, and this one just simply doesn't really have it. It's just, you have to meet the requirements for it, which, if you're playing the right deck, it doesn't really matter too much. But anyways, that's going to go and wrap up the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here and do want to see these cards in gameplay form when they do come out on Yu-Gi-Oh, I'll try to get you guys some gameplay of it. I think the Magikey still needs some better support though, honestly. But subscribe, turn that bell if you're new, and you'll definitely see it very soon. But anyways, take care, guys. I'll catch you on the next vid. Peace.